Uh-oh. And now we're only given 2 points. I will tell you, now we got our work cut out for us. Because we're actually not given a slope or even the y-intercept. Now we're just given 2 points. Oh my goodness. Let's see what happens on this one. Okay, we walk in our crime scene, and now we have just 2 points. Here's our example you can write in your foldable. So -1 comma -7 and 0, -1. Again, this is still our goal. We need to write this equation in slope-intercept form, and we only need to find 2 things: slope and the y-intercept. But we don't have any of that. So you can see our steps to success, a couple more. Well, wonder what we can do if we're given just 2 points. Oh, I got it. We could use the slope formula to find the slope of these 2 particular, rephrase, the slope of the line that would go through these 2 particular points. So that is step number 1. Find the slope. Bingo. So let's do it. y2 minus y1, I got -1 minus a -7 on top, changing y. And then 0 minus -1 on the bottom, which would give me then, if I add these together, that changes this to a positive 6 on top. Beautiful. And then this goes to that, so that gives me a, well, 0 plus 1 gives me 1. So the slope is 6. So guess what? We're halfway home to solving this crime. We have our slope. Awesome. So I know that this up here is at least going to be 6. That's pretty cool. So now what can I do? Let's see. Let me think about what I've learned. I have a slope already. Good. Now I did a little work to find that. Ooh! And I actually have 2 points. I remember the flap we just did. It was slope and just a point. So I have 2 points here. I could choose either one of these and it would work. And I just told you what to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to substitute, I'll abbreviate, substitute the slope in for m, just like we did in the last flap, and, I'll just write it, and the x and y coordinates in for x and y up here. And then step 3, I'll just write it down now, we're going to then solve for the y-intercept. That's cool, so let's do it. So I'm going to take this slope and put it back in here like I already did. So it's going to be 6, and then I'm going to put my x in there, plus whatever b is. I need to find that. So, again, I said this, and I'll write it down. You need to write it down, too. You can choose either point. Doesn't matter which one. That's ugly right there. That says either, by the way. That's an I. That's a T. Wow, that's ugly. So you can choose either one of the 2 points. Doesn't matter which one. You can look at it and say, this looks easier, so I'll do it. Just make sure you plug it in appropriately. That's the x, and that's the y. That's the x, and that's the y. And I'll take the time to show you that it works for both of them. So let's take this first one right here. So I'll put the -7 in for y right here, -7. I'll put the -1 in for x right here, like that. And now I got to solve it. So when I solve this bad boy, that's going to give me -7 equals -6. Again, I'm solving it for b. Step 3. So now I'm going to add a 6 to both sides, add a 6. That gives me -1 is what b is. So that's pretty cool. So let me stop for a second now with this. And now let's use this point and plug it in. So same thing applies. I'm going to take my slope, which is 6, put it in there. I need to figure out what b is, so I'll leave that over there. And let's take the points and plug them in appropriately. So 0 is what x is, so that means I'm going to put it in for here, where x is. That means it's going to go in right there. I'm plugging in 0 for x, 0 for x. And then -1 is what y is, so I'll put that in for y right here. Beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is solve it for b. So I take 6 times 0 gives me 0. b plus 0 gives me just b. Oh, look at that. I have the same exact thing. I got the same y-intercept, -1 or -1. So as I just said, you can choose either point. Doesn't matter at all. To me, it shouldn't matter to you. You go with one that you think is going to be simpler. Might not be a bad thing. Side note, put them both in and make sure you get the same y-intercept. Nice little checks and balance for you. There you go. That was free of charge, by the way. And then the last step is just finish it up. That's actually substitute the slope and the y-intercept into the equation, and we're done. because then we did our mission. We've completed this mission by finding the actual y equals mx plus b form where it is. Now my slope is 6. The y-intercept is -1. So there is your answer. So that is the equation of the line that goes through -1, -7. 0, -1 goes through those 2 points. And there it is. Now, again, you can write it this way just to make sure we're clear. You can write it as 6x minus 1. Most times you'll probably see it like that. But that is a scoop. So take your 2 points, find a slope. Find a slope. Use that slope. Use the x and y's, whichever point you want to choose. Plug it in. And then over here to the right, solve it for b. Solve it for b. And that's all you got to do, and you're done. Awesome. Now, there's one more scenario that is extremely similar to this one. Except when you walk on the scene of this crime, you're going to be like, whoa, this looks totally different. But you're going to see it isn't all that different at all than what this part is right here when you get 2 points. So let's go to the foldable. And now you see, the last thing when you walk onto this crime scene, what happens if we're just given a graph? What? That's weird. If I just have a coordinate plane and there's a line and I have nothing else given to me, that's it. You might think, wow, this is going to take a lot of work. Well, it'll take a little work, but let's check it out and see. Whoa, look at this one. So you walk on the crime scene. All you see is a graph that looks like this. Don't get too nervous because our goal is still to do this. We have to find the slope, that, and the y-intercept. It's the mission every time. Every time it's the mission. So I have to find slope and y-intercept given this graph. Well, what can I do? Here's step number 1. All you have to do is simply choose 2 points on the line. That's it. And use those to find the slope. Bam. Actually, you know what? Let me back this up. Choose 2 points on the line. I'll just stop that step right there. Choose 2 points on the line. Where do they have to be? Anywhere, as long as you make sure that they're real points. For sake of example, let's say we choose this point right here. And that happens to be at -2, 7. So that's at -2, 7. You can choose this one, you can choose this one, you can choose this one. I'm going to choose this one, why not? It's the farthest one away that I can see, and I know for a fact that's it. So 1, -5 is that one. So you're going to take these 2 points. Whoa, wait a minute. It's almost exactly, forget it, it is exactly like the last crime scene we walked up to and we only saw 2 points. So step 1 in doing these types of questions where you're just given a graph and you got to come up with the actual equation, choose 2 points. And then here's my step number 2. Go back to 2-point flap. And use those steps. So go back 1 flap, what we just talked about previously in this video, and use those same exact steps. And if you don't know, or do it because you got the folder right there in front of you, here's it. You got to find the slope. So find the slope of these 2 points. So I'll go -5 change in y over change in x, like that. So -5 minus 7, 1 minus -2. That would create for me -12 on top. And this would make it 3 on the bottom. So the slope is -4. So I'm actually kind of halfway home. I have y equals -4x. All I need to figure out is whatever b is. I have the slope. How do I find that? Look at your steps. I use the slope, and I choose either one of these 2 points. It doesn't matter. I'm only going to show you 1 point, and I'm actually going to take this one. Why? I don't know. It just happens to look nice to me. So I'm going to go -5. I'm plugging that in for y. And I'm putting -4 in for slope, in for my m. And for x, I'm going to put in 1. And I'm going to leave b by itself because I need to solve it for b and find that. So let's do it. So that's -4 when I multiply -4 times 1. I add a 4 to both sides, add a 4 to both sides. That gives me -1. That's weird. Kind of like the last one we just did. So my y-intercept is, as you can see, -1. So I'm done. Let's just plug that in up here. And there is my equation, just like that. Now, some of you might be looking at this saying, wait a minute, why do I got to choose 2 points? Can I just look and see, oh, it crosses the y-axis at -1? And I propose to you, you are absolutely correct. You can do that. You can take that -1, which is the y-intercept, and immediately plug it in for there. Immediately. Check this out. Then you can go back and say, wait, I know this is a point on my graph, so let's find the slope. Let's go rise over run. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going down 4, that's -4, and to the right 1. Down 4, right 1. Down 4, right 1. That's a negative slope. -4 to be specific. So I could just take that -4 and plug it right in there. So you got two options. How cool is that? When you walk onto a crime scene and you see this graph, you got two options. Now maybe you can't actually determine where it goes through the y-axis. You better make sure you know for a fact it goes exactly through a particular point. Because if for some weird reason, this is going to get ugly, but I'll just draw it down here at the bottom. Look. If for some weird reason, like the line goes through like right here, like right there, you don't know that's exactly at -9. So then I wouldn't use this last little quick method I told you. You'd actually have to take 2 points somewhere that's on the graph. This would be longer, of course. But you got to be careful. So either choose 2 points if you can find 2 points for sure, or if you know exactly where it crosses the y-axis, and you know that there's 2 other points that you can actually find what the slope is, great. Then just plug that in. So either one of those will work. And this will take some practice, I promise you. Every year, once we get a chance in class here, to practice and practice and practice these and kind of massage these a little bit, and you be the detective yourself instead of me just preaching at you here and talking to you, you're going to master these things. I'm proud of you guys already because it's a cool, cool thing that is used many, many times in many other math classes, and especially throughout the year with Algebra 2. So let's rock and roll, and let's do these. I am going to give you a CPQ question right now. And actually, you know what? This is long enough. So let's not do a CPQ question. I'll probably just give you one in class. We'll see you guys. Hope you had some great notes. If not, go back. And you need to make sure you watch this a couple times because there's a lot of information I just threw at you. So let's rock and roll. You guys are awesome. Proud of you. Later.